Today, on Be Something Wonderful, how to bust the illusion of fear. I am your host, Tom Kieran, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of higher consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Creators, welcome back. I got an email from a subscriber who said, Tom, I know a lot of spiritual teachers and coaches talk about fear, that fear isn't real, but it's feeling pretty real to me. And I'm just wondering, what can you add to this? How do I overcome fear? How do I overcome these thoughts? I was wondering if you could unpack this. Well, guys, we're going to unpack this today and more. So here's really what I want to say, and it's been said before, but never the way it's going to be said today, that fear is just a thought that you thought over and over again and started believing in, right? Fear is like all thoughts. They are not real. You only make them real by believing in them. Hear this. And it's not about resisting the thoughts, not about controlling fear or resisting fear. It's not about trying to get rid of fear, right? That just keeps it all in place. It's not about running away from it, right? Instead, it's about replacing fear. Replacing fear with what? With love. Replacing a negative or a fearful thought with what? With a thought of love. Hear this, a loving thought, right? They call this the law of substitution. We'll get to this in a few minutes, but let's unpack this some more. All fear, this really comes from A Course in Miracles. All fear is ultimately reducible to the basic misconception that you have the ability to usurp the power of God. Hear this. That's what fear is. You believe that you can upend, you can overpower God. God is love. And fear has no power in the face of love. That's what all fear is. I love this by A Course in Miracles. That's what fear is. It's your belief that you're separate, that there are two powers. There's God and there's an opposing power. There's good and then there's evil. There's just one power, one energy, one consciousness, one God, and that is love. Hear this. And so if you believe in fear, if you believe in those thoughts, you believe in your ability to usurp the power of God. Wow. And here's what else A Course in Miracles says. There is nothing they cannot do, but they cannot be performed in the spirit of doubt and fear. They're talking about miracles. A Course in Miracles, when Course in Miracles talks about a miracle, they're talking about a change in perception, it's a change in knowing, really, about seeing love instead of fear, instead of anything else, right? Love is the only thing that is real, right? The love, that's what A Course in Miracles says, right? Everything else is not real. Love is real. That's the miracle, right? When you are afraid of anything, you are acknowledging its power to hurt you. Hear this, such a powerful statement, A Course in Miracles. If you're afraid of anything, big or small, it doesn't matter. You are acknowledging its power to hurt you. You are not acknowledging a power other than God. And it's impossible. There's only one power. There cannot be two. There's only love and there's only God. So it's not about fighting it, getting rid of it, condemning it, resisting it, running away from it. It's about replacing it. Replacing it with what? Replacing it with love. Choosing love over fear. This is what A Course in Miracles says. And Alan Cohen, who wrote a book about simplifying A Course in Miracles, gives this example. It's a great one. Hear this. Imagine that in a dream you are being chased by a bear. In another dream, you're being chased by 100 bears. In which situation are you in greater danger? That's what he asks. In which situation are you in greater danger? Whether being chased by one bear or 100 bears. Guys, it's a dream. They're both illusions. That's the thing. It doesn't matter if you're afraid of a small thing or a big thing. They're both bogus illusions. Right? And this is what A Course in Miracles says. There's no order of difficulty in miracles, meaning choosing love over fear. It's all the same. It doesn't matter if you fear a small thing or a big thing. It's all the same. Miracles, there are no difficulties. The universe, God, infinity doesn't recognize big or small or good or bad or right or wrong. It's all one. All conditions are illusions. All 3D conditions from which you need a miracle to escape. Because if you see those conditions in anything else than love, anything unlike God, anything unlike love, you're seeing, you're making up an illusion, you're making up fear. What you're looking at is love. That's consciousness. That's all there is, right? They are all bad dreams made up by your thoughts. Wow, that's powerful. So it's not about resisting it. That makes it real. That gives it reality. It's about replacing it, choosing love, right? And this is what Alan Cohen says. Neither one beer or 100 beers, they're all dream beers. They're all dream beers, and none of them have power. Neither 1 or 100 dream beers have power when you wake up from the dream, right? Fear of big things or small things is all the same. Fear has no power when you wake up, right? Course in Miracles says, I could see peace instead of this. I could see peace instead of this. What does it mean? I could see love, the peace of God. This is what Scripture says, the peace of God which surpasses all understanding. And then Course in Miracles talks about that peace, right? Or all comprehension, which my Bible says, right? That's pretty cool. All comprehension. It passes all comprehension, right? This peace is totally incapable of being shaken. It denies the ability of anything, not of God, to affect you. Hear this. This is big. This is a wow. This peace that surpasses all understanding is totally incapable of being shaken. It denies the ability of anything, not of God, to affect you. If it's not love, it's fear, and none of that can affect you. It denies it outright. Hear this. And here's what A Course in Miracles says. This is really powerful. Miracles enable you to heal the sick and raise the dead because you make sickness and death yourself and can therefore abolish it. You are a miracle, capable of creating in the likeness of the Creator. Everything else is your own nightmare and does not exist. Only the creations of light are real. Think of this. It's like you're dreaming and then somebody turns on a bright light. And then you wake up, you're still wondering whether you're in the dream or not, but then you realize you're not. You realize you're free from that bondage. You're free from that dream. But then you even have a bigger realization that shows you that you're free, that you're absolutely free, right? That you are love, right? The knowledge that illuminates not only sets you free, but also shows you clearly that you are free. Hear these words, they're so powerful, right? Like the light being suddenly turned on when you're dreaming. This is big. And so I pointed to this a few minutes ago. How do you do it then? You're saying, Tom, well then what do I do with these fearful thoughts? What do I do with these fearful things? Well, don't resist them, fight them, or try to get rid of them. That keeps them reality. Instead, there's a law called the law of substitution. This spiritual law says substitute a fearful thought or a negative thought or an unwanted thought for a loving thought, right? The Scripture supports the law of substitution here in Isaiah 61:13. To give them beauty for ashes, joy for mourning, praise for the spirit of heaviness, that they may be called trees of righteousness, the planting of the Lord, or the law, that he may be glorified. Hear this, glorifying that higher consciousness, glorifying that power and wisdom of God within, that law, right? That law, that the peace that passes all understanding, right? Give them beauty for ashes. It's the law of substitution. Scripture's talking about joy for mourning, praise for the spirit of heaviness. And then also Scripture says that whatever is true, whatever is honorable, whatever is right, whatever is pure, whatever is lovely, whatever is of good repute, dwell on these things. It's telling you where to point your attention, where to point your consciousness, right? That's big. It's saying pointed on the wanted, right? The lovely things, the true things, the pure things, the good things, right? And then A Course in Miracles says, I am in danger nowhere in the world. Big statements. I'm in danger nowhere. Why? Because you're loved, you're God, you're consciousness. There's only one power. That fear is made up. It's an illusion. So you have you, consciousness, God, infinity, love. It's all you. Dr. Joe Dispenza says this great. A few things. First, he says, because it exists, consciousness, God, love, all that is, infinity, in all places, in all times, and exerts its power within us and around us, in us and around us. This intelligence is both personal and universal. It's individualized through us, but it's also universal. It's also all there is, God, right? Then he says, and this is the big one, how can a consciousness that has created all of life, that expends the energy and will to consistently regulate every function of our bodies to keep us alive, that has expressed such a deep and abiding interest in us, be anything but pure love. Hear this. Dr. Joe Dispenza in his book, Breaking the Habit of Being Yourself. That's big. How can it be anything but pure love? The energy, the consciousness that keeps us alive, keeps us heart beating, keeps the earth spinning, keeps the flowers blooming, the sun shining. How can that be anything? And it expressed such a deep and abiding interest in us, always looking out for us, always has our back, always is loving us, no matter what. That's big. That's big. So if you see the good in anything, you see the good in everything. Hear this. This is the law. This is the power of infinity. It's the power of God. It's like a hologram, as we talked about. It's eternal. It's forevermore. But no matter how much you cut a hologram up, it contains the whole. You contain the whole of the universe in the 3D world and everything there is, was, or ever be. When you see good in anything, you see good in everything. Right? Imagine that. If you could be grateful for anything, you could be grateful for everything, because when you are grateful for one thing, you're grateful for everything. When you see the good in one thing, you see the good in everything. Why? Any one thing contains the entire universe, contains God within it. So when you see good in that, you're seeing good in everything. When you're being grateful for that, you're being grateful for everything. Wow, that's big. If you can see and feel the love in anything, you can feel it and see it in everything. Right? Fear is made up. You are God, infinite intelligence, love. Right? Really, guys, that's how to bust the illusion of fear. I am your host, Tom Caron, and this is the Be Something Wonderful studio of Higher Consciousness, where we help you level up and become the best version of yourself. Don't forget to subscribe, hit the notification button, like and share our videos and the channel with your friends and family. Hit us up on Facebook at Be Something Wonderful, on Instagram and Twitter at Tom Caron, our website at tomcaron.com or BeSomethingWonderful.com, or write me anytime at info@BeSomethingWonderful.com. I would love to hear from you. Until next time, with great love, this is Tom. See you soon.